go! All right, hi everybody, welcome back. Attorney Steve Vondran, welcome to another exciting episode of Trademark College. All right, today we're talking about you filmmakers, you producers, video producers, documentarians. You want to use trademarks in your videos, in your films, in your YouTube videos, in your Vimeo channels, right? Can you use it? A lot of people go, they call me for fair use letters and they go, Attorney Steve, can I use somebody's trademark or do I have to get that cleared? Without further ado, let's find out and head to the Attorney Steve litigation whiteboard. All right, here we are again. Okay, so we're calling this one trademark fair use. The reality is you really don't need to get permission to use somebody's trademark in your videos. Okay, now there is one exception that we're going to talk about over here, which is dilution, which comes under the Dilution Act. Okay, there's an act that says if you're diluting somebody's trademark through blurring or tarnishment or tarnishing, that can be against the law and that can be illegal. You can get sued for that. But let's take a look here at some of the things that are very common. You're able to use this for very common reasons. Number one, say we have the BMW brand and we have a trademark, okay? Trademark is really just a name, image, word, symbol, device, anything that designates where this product is coming from, what we call the source of the goods or the services. In this case, we're talking BMW. When you see that logo, you know this is coming from BMW. This is the real deal, baby. Now, if it's not the real deal, that's called a counterfeit, okay? And counterfeits can get you in big trouble. All right, so say you're a BMW repair shop. You can use their logo in your commercials and newspaper ads. We fix BMWs. Or if you're an authorized BMW repair service shop, authorized BMW. That's perfectly fair. That's a perfectly fair use of a trademark. You're not confusing consumers. Nobody thinks that you're BMW. They don't think you're somehow that you are BMW, okay? So that is a perfectly acceptable use, okay? Another one, you see this all the time, product comparisons. You are free to use trademarks to compare products. For example, everybody knows this one, Coke versus Pepsi, the Coke versus Pepsi war, okay? And of course they were doing the, take the Pepsi challenge and all that. Now me, myself, this is the clear winner for me right here. That Coke is really, really good. I really like that Coke. So delicious. So product comparisons, perfectly legal to do. You may see this online or in various commercials, one company comparing itself to all the others. And you may say, wow, how come they're not suing them? Well, because you can't. They're just comparing products. It's a perfectly legal. You're not confusing anyone. You're not pretending you're Pepsi. You're not doing this, that, and the other, okay? Next, product reviews. You see a lot of this on the internet these days with unboxing or product reviews, things like that. You say, hey, I'm going to show you the next iPad. Look at this thing. Wow, this is from Apple. Very valuable trademark. And trademarks can have extreme value, but Apple, here's the newest, latest Apple product. Well, nobody's going to be confused. They're not going to think you're Apple or you're claiming to be Apple. So that's another totally fair use. You don't need to seek permission. You don't need to contact the company and say, hey, do you mind if I use your Apple logo in my product review video? You're never going to get a response, probably, for the most part. So that's another total fair use of a trademark. Now, for you movie makers, let's drill down a little bit deeper. Say you want to have somebody with the Gucci bag, you want the Louis Vuitton bag, somebody wearing a Lakers jersey in one of your videos, for example, or maybe Nike shoes or whatever, and you're wondering, can I do that, or do I need to go to Gucci and Louis Vuitton and get permission? I mean, again, it's going to take forever. Are they ever really going to give you permission? Probably not, maybe, but again, you have fair use rights to use these logos fairly in your movies, your videos, on your YouTube channels, okay? We represent a good amount of YouTubers. This is what they're doing. They want these things in there. Why? There's artistic relevance to using it. You're saying, well, I'm doing a video about this or that, and I want a guy with a Lakers jersey. It would look super cool, and he's wearing Nikes, and maybe he's carrying a Gucci bag. Who knows? But that's perfectly legal as long as you're not confusing consumers. What I have here, LLOCC, that's my shorthand version. I got it from law school. Likelihood of consumer confusion. As long as you're not confusing consumers. That's what trademark law is all about. You don't want them to think I am representing that this is my brand, my logo, when in fact it's not. If consumers can be confused, you might have a legal problem, because that's the test for infringement. Is it likely to confuse the consumer? Okay, so as long as you're not doing that, you're good with your movies and your trademarks and your movies. No need for permission, no need for clearance, no need for attribution, okay? Again, some people will also do this. If you're on the fine line and you're saying, you know, I want to make sure I don't want any legal trouble. I don't want to be sued. I don't want anything. You can always put a link in there that says on your video, or at the end of your video, we are no way affiliated. This is not endorsed by Apple. This is not endorsed by Nike. This is not endorsed. If you want to really protect yourself, you can put a little disclaimer at the bottom of your videos or at the end. Okay. Finally, the final thing I'm going to talk about, this is very important, is no dilution. Okay, now what I've showed you up till now, BMW, Pepsi, Coke, Apple, these are what we call famous marks. Let's go up over here. Dilution is a statute that deals with tarnishing or blurring a famous mark. And you know what a famous mark is when you see it. If it's some name you've never heard of, Anacott Steel, well, you might be going, Anacott Steel, I've never heard of them. Wait, was that in the Wall Street movie? So anyway, you know what a famous mark is. McDonald's, right? Adidas, these kinds of things. Sony, okay? Famous marks you have to be careful with if you're using them in your videos, on your YouTube channels. Be careful, because you don't want to use it in a way that blurs. And blurring is really what we call lowering the distinctiveness, the distinctive value of your brand. And a case on point here is what I have, the Louis Vuitton versus Hyundai. I believe this was the Hyundai Sonata. It was a Super Bowl commercial. And Hyundai used all this fancy stuff that basically insinuating that this is the Louis Vuitton of all cars, the Hyundai Sonata. And Louis Vuitton had a problem with that. They said, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is really bringing the value of Louis Vuitton down if everybody's going to claim they're the Louis Vuitton of this or the Louis Vuitton of that. So the court found blurring or dilution, okay? And so that you need to be careful about in your videos. Don't show a brand that's distinctive and tie it into something that is not, okay? Lowering the distinctiveness or impairing the distinctiveness. Finally, the other one is blur. Either one of these can get you into trouble. This is tarnishment. Tarnishment is when you take a product or a mark of somebody's and you use it on inferior quality products. You show the mark in an unsavory light or a unwholesome manner, things like that. That can get you sued as well, so you want to be careful. Now, I'll give you a case in point where tarnishment was alleged but not proven and defeated in court. So the defendant won in this case. This is Caterpillar versus Disney, and Disney was coming out with, I believe it was Georgia the Jungle. Remember that? Georgia of the jungle, friend to you and me. And Georgia was using Caterpillar products. Everybody knows the famous Caterpillar machinery, all that they use, very famous. And they were using it, and Caterpillar said, well, you know, we don't like that you're using this in your cartoon. I mean, this is tarnishing our trademark, and we don't like it, and we want to put it to a stop. If you do it, everybody's going to have Caterpillar all over the place, and we don't want that. That's not within what we're trying to do with our brand. Court said, settle down, Caterpillar, settle down. They didn't tarnish your brand. They didn't use it in a inferior goods type of way. They weren't disparaging the product. They showed the actual product and in its current context. So they were just using it or borrowing it to tell their story. In fact, you should probably be happy because it gives you some brand recognition, right? So anyway, so that's what we talk about when we talk about trademarks in your videos, a fair use, not having to seek permission or give attribution, to just tell your story, but tell it in the right way. Tell it in the context of this is what we do, or a comparison or a product review. For you movie makers, make sure that you're asking yourself, is this artistically relevant? Why am I picking these brands? Why does it help tell my story? And then make sure you're not diluting a brand that has a famous trademark. If you do these things, you're probably going to be fine. If you need help with a fair use opinion letter, copyright is a lot of what we do is we review clips for copyright, fair use, which is a real thing, which you do need to be very careful about. But again, we help a lot of YouTubers and video makers, documentarians. If you need help, Attorney Steve, you know where to find us. Here's the mark you need to look for right down there. That's a registered trademark. Hey, I'm working on making it a famous trademark. I'm just not quite there yet, okay? If you subscribe, that may just very well help. But anyway, that's what you need to do. Attorney Steve, Trademark College. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have a friend who's a movie maker, do him a favor, say, you got to watch this. You got to watch this video by Attorney Steve on trademarks. All right, guys, I got to run. General legal information only, not legal advice. Remember, every case is fact specific, so you want to make sure you're getting good, sound legal advice before you're doing things. But this is general legal overview of trademarks. Have a great day. Got to run. Bye now.